Tamar Braxton took to her social media first and wrote she almost died in a pool of blood and fell out and all of this different stuff. I found that out at the same time y'all found that out. Okay? It wasn't until I get ready.
Tamar Braxton says she almost died, but while she stayed silent, the internet accused Funky Dineva of trying to kill her. And instead of clearing Funky Dineva's name, Tamar Braxton dropped a music video with Mendeecees Harris dragging Yandy Smith straight into the chaos. The city was buzzing with whispers, the kind that crawl out of Instagram comments and explode into TikTok stitches and Twitter threads. Atlanta hadn't seen a night this messy in years. It all started with a single photo, Tamar Braxton lying in a hospital bed, her face covered in bandages, her words slicing through social media like a scream from the grave. "I almost died," Tamar Braxton wrote, found in a pool of blood. "My nose is fractured, my teeth are missing, for teeth, gone, a broken nose." A trembling voice begging fans to pray for her, to believe she had narrowly escaped death. And for a moment, the city stopped, vlogs lit up. Fans rushed into Tamar Braxton's comments with prayers and broken hearts, but while the hashtag screamed, "Get well soon, Queen," another narrative was already forming because not everyone believed her. And one name caught in the crossfire of sympathy and suspicion was Funky Dineva.
Tess.
But we already know you shouldn't even be dealing with him.
And you around here going through by that lady husband?
What?
Girl, you a better woman than I ever be.
Oh, wait a minute. They are not together.
Okay, Vince, I need advice. What do I do?
Well, you gotta love yourself first.
I didn't cheat. I got taken down.
Can you expect for him to get over that?
I ain't know gonna get real life in there, bitch.
No, it's about to get real life in here.
Either you cut it, I cut it.
No, we're not cutting it.
Okay, well, I'm cutting it. Just give me the goddamn shit. I'll do it.
You guys were not equally yoked.
But there is a time where a man stops being a hoe, right?
When they want to.
As long as they hang down in the front, they're gonna run. But they don't want you running.
If he's the only thing I got, well then I must not have a lot.
I gotta pee.
If you saw it unfold, you remember how quickly prayers turned into questions. Fans asked who was with Tamar Braxton that night. Who was the last to see her alive before this so-called tragedy? And as receipts rolled in, all fingers pointed at one person, Funky Dineva, the very friend who had been celebrating with her just hours earlier. Imagine this, you go out with someone, laugh over drinks, dance through the night, and by morning the world accuses you of trying to kill them. That's the nightmare Funky Dineva woke up to, while Tamar Braxton's page filled with prayers. Funky Dineva's page filled with fire. You were the last one with her. What did you do to Tamar Braxton? Why aren't you speaking up? At first, Funky Dineva brushed it off. He thought, storms come and go, this would pass. But this storm had legs, it grew, hashtags multiplying, fans demanding answers. By the time Funky Dineva went live, 7,000 people were waiting, spamming Tamar Braxton's name, refusing to let him breathe without an explanation. That's when things turned messy. Funky Dineva told his truth, dinner at Ruth's Chris, a stop at V12 Lounge, birthday shots, then he dropped Tamar Braxton off at her home. No lingering, no drama, that was it. But here's the twist, Tamar Braxton stayed silent. She didn't post, "My friend is innocent." She didn't text to clear him, she left a gaping hole. And that silence turned Funky Dineva into the internet's punching bag, and silence wasn't Tamar Braxton's only weapon. While Funky Dineva begged her for clarity, she was posting cryptic teases, "I can't wait to tell y'all." Fans thought she was hinting at revealing her attacker, but the reveal wasn't about danger or recovery, it was about promotion. A music video, a brand new EP, and right in the middle of it, Mendeecees Harris, let that sink in. Tamar Braxton claimed she almost died, claimed her body was broken, her teeth shattered. And days later, she was pushing a video with Mendeecees Harris, a man already drowning in cheating rumors tied to his wife Yandy Smith. It looked less like survival, more like strategy. Tamar Braxton wasn't playing defense, she was making power moves. But Funky Dineva refused to be her pawn. He went live again, this time raging. "I was collateral damage in a 2-bit PR stunt," he snapped. He showed receipts, casual texts from Tamar Braxton while she supposedly lay in the hospital, calling him friend, acting normal. But never once shutting down the accusations. Funky Dineva asked his viewers, "If you were me, what would you think?" The world is accusing you of drugging somebody, hurting somebody, and the one person who could clear your name stays silent. Is that a friend? And the audience felt it, because this wasn't about a hospital bed, it was about betrayal. Tamar Braxton could have ended it with one sentence: Funky Dineva had nothing to do with this. Instead, she let him burn. Why? For a rollout, for clout, for an EP. And the choice of Mendeecees Harris only made it dirtier. Out of all the men she could cast, she picked the one drowning in rumors, the one tied to Yandy Smith's public pain. Why? Because controversy sells. It became clear Tamar Braxton wasn't just surviving a night. She was scripting a storyline. Funky Dineva became the suspect, Mendeecees Harris the leading man, and she, the survivor. Reality TV energy without VH1, except this time, the fans weren't clapping, they were disgusted. Even her own family had warned the world. Toni Braxton once said, "We spoiled her, we created a monster." And here was that monster in action, manipulating sympathy, weaponizing silence, and sacrificing loyalty for headlines, because the truth is, Tamar Braxton doesn't need to play these games. Her voice is unmatched, her talent undeniable. But instead of letting her music speak, she let chaos speak, and chaos always leaves casualties. So here we are. Tamar Braxton says she almost died. Funky Dineva says it was all a lie. The receipts show something in between. But one thing is clear, Tamar Braxton used her tragedy to sell music, dragged Funky Dineva into the fire, and tied herself to Mendeecees Harris scandal in the process. And if you were watching, those comments flood Funky Dineva's page. If you saw Tamar Braxton stay silent while he begged for clarity, you'd have to ask, if this wasn't a stunt, why didn't she clear him sooner? Because as Funky Dineva said, this isn't over, he has more to spill. The question is, will Tamar Braxton finally admit it was a stunt? Or will she keep playing victim while her so-called friends burn? And that's where the betrayal hit hardest. Because Tamar Braxton didn't just stay silent, she turned that silence into a stage. While Funky Dineva was getting eaten alive in his own comments, Tamar Braxton was busy dropping teasers. While fans accused Funky Dineva of slipping something into her drink, Tamar Braxton was posting, "I can't wait to tell y'all." Every breadcrumb made the storm worse for Funky Dineva. Every day she stayed quiet, the internet grew more convinced that he was guilty. Now let's be real. Funky Dineva is messy, he drags people for sport, he lives for shade. But there's one line he doesn't cross, and that's accusations like this. He said it himself, "There is not a world where I let people say I drugged somebody and I just sit quiet." That was the breaking point, and Tamar Braxton knew it. She knew how dangerous that silence would be, and still, she chose herself over her so-called friend. This is where the audience turned. Because it's one thing to pull a stunt for attention. It's another to sacrifice someone else's reputation for it. Tamar Braxton didn't just gamble with her own credibility. She weaponized Funky Dineva's. She let the world drag him, let the think pieces pile up, let his name trend for all the wrong reasons. Also, she could drop a music video with Mendeecees Harris, and let's pause on that twist. Out of every man in Atlanta, Tamar Braxton picked Mendeecees Harris, a married man whose name already stayed hot in the blog for scandal. Why him? Why now? The answer was obvious, because Tamar Braxton wanted the mess. She wanted the smoke. She wanted people asking, wait, why is Mendeecees Harris with Tamar Braxton? Is Yandy Smith okay with this? Are they together? She didn't care about the optics. The optics were the entire point. If you were online that night when the promo dropped, you remember the confusion. People weren't asking about the EP, they weren't hyped about the storyline, they were saying, hold up, wasn't Tamar Braxton just in the hospital? How is she already dancing with Mendeecees Harris? The transition was to clean, to quick, to suspicious, and just like that, the prayers turned into side eyes. Funky Dineva saw it too, that's why he called it a stunt, because in his eyes, Tamar Braxton wasn't recovering from an accident, she was staging a rollout, using sympathy, using tragedy, using him, using Mendeecees Harris, using anyone she could to grab the spotlight. And the sad irony, it worked. For a moment, everybody was talking about Tamar Braxton again. Blogs couldn't stop, Twitter couldn't stop, YouTubers couldn't stop, she had her moment. But at what cost? Because while Tamar Braxton was chasing attention, she was burning bridges, not just with Funky Dineva, but with anyone who got close. This wasn't her first time. Fans remembered the drama with Chrissy and Rock, remembered the fallout with James Wright Chanel, remembered the so-called missing tooth epidemic. The pattern was clear, Tamar Braxton plays victim while everyone else takes the fall. Even the Braxton family had warned us, Anianla, fix my life. Her sisters cried about how exhausting her behavior was. Toni Braxton admitted she was spoiled, babied, allowed to get away with everything, and when you never face consequences, you learn to weaponize chaos. That's exactly what Tamar Braxton had done, but here's the truth about stunts. They only work if the audience buys the act. This time, they weren't buying. Funky Dineva's receipts were too sharp. His anger to raw, his betrayal to visible, fans began to flip. The same people who prayed for Tamar Braxton days earlier were now dragging her. This ain't cute. You too old for this, you need therapy, not sympathy. The tide was turning. And Tamar Braxton was drowning in it. Meanwhile, Mendeecees Harris was catching strays too. His name, already tied to cheating rumors with Yandy Smith, was now tangled in Tamar Braxton's alleged stunt. Fans asked, was Mendeecees Harris in on it? Did he know? Did he agree to this mess? Whether fair or not, his reputation was being dragged, and Tamar Braxton didn't care. Because as long as people were talking, she was winning, but that's where she miscalculated, because attention doesn't always equal respect. And this stunt may have bought Tamar Braxton clicks, but it cost her credibility. Fans don't forget betrayal, they don't forgive being played. What Tamar Braxton thought was a slick rollout ended up pulling the rug from under her own career. Funky Dineva ended his video with a warning, I've weathered storms before, but this one y'all are going to regret. His voice carried rage and heartbreak. Because beneath the shade and the cackles was something deeper, disappointment. This woman was supposed to be my friend, he said, shaking his head. And she sat there and let me be eaten alive while she dropped a damn music video. What type of person does that? The city asked the same question, and the answers weren't kind, selfish, narcissist, desperate. Comments under every post were brutal. Tamar Braxton's sympathy grab had backfired into disgust, but instead of owning it, Tamar Braxton doubled down. She posted about healing, about peace, about not fighting. It was her oldest trick. When caught, play the victim, deflect with spirituality. Wrap yourself in growth and healing so people feel guilty for calling you out. But this time, nobody was buying because her healing came right after a staged lie. Even her so-called sweet response to Funky Dineva exposed her. No matter what he says, I love Miss Funky Dineva. On the surface, it sounded nice. But listen closer, that wasn't accountability, that wasn't an apology, that was deflection. And Funky Dineva caught it instantly. Love me, you don't love me. You used me, he said. And then came the official bombshell. Tamar Braxton announced Mendeecees Harris as the star of her new project, Heartbreak Retrograde. The timing was no accident. A married man, already tangled in rumors of infidelity, suddenly positioned as Tamar Braxton's leading man right after her hospital stunt. It was calculated, it was reckless, and it was scandalous enough to trend. If you were Yandy Smith, what would you think? Your husband, already whispered about across Atlanta, now paraded in Tamar Braxton's project. Some fans said Yandy Smith stayed quiet because she didn't care. Others said she couldn't speak because Tamar Braxton's stunt was designed to keep her name tied to theirs. Either way, Yandy Smith became another silent victim of Tamar Braxton's chaos, and that's what sits at the center of this saga: collateral damage. Tamar Braxton's list of casualties is long: Funky Dineva, Mendeecees Harris, Yandy Smith, Chrissy Rock, James Wright Chanel, even her own sisters. Anyone who gets too close ends up burned. And the saddest part, Tamar Braxton always walks away as the victim of the very fire she starts. By the end of the week, the truth was undeniable. Funky Dineva had vindicated himself, Mendeecees Harris looked messy by association, and Tamar Braxton's EP Rollout was being roasted across social media. One fan said it best, she wanted us to buy the music, but now we're just buying popcorn, because this wasn't an album rollout, this was a circus, a bloody, toothless circus, and the audience? They weren't clapping anymore. They were booing. Still, Tamar Braxton won't stop, she never does. Another scandal will rise. Another headline will trend, and she'll be right back in the spotlight. Because Tamar Braxton doesn't just crave attention, she feeds on it. Even if it means lying, even if it means faking, even if it means losing every friend she has left. So as this chapter closes, the question remains, if Tamar Braxton could fake this, what else could she fake? How many more tragedies, how many more healing journeys, how many more stunts are waiting to unfold? Because one thing's clear, Tamar Braxton didn't just lie about missing teeth. She lied about loyalty, she lied about friendship, and that's a wound deeper than any hospital story.